All right, so let's talk about something else while I'm doing these plugs. First thing is, I've already pre-gapped my plugs. All right, we run 32 thousandths. It's what we like. Seems to work good. If you change it a little bit, don't seem to like it. So that's just what we've come up with. We're going to run a number 8, and that's a R5671A-8, which is a little bit of a hot plug. Well, let's see. Actually, that's a hotter plug because NGK goes hotter the lower the number, where I think other ones go hotter the higher the number. So that's what we've run. It seems to always do us good. Now, we've been having a problem with number 5 cylinder. The plug's not cooling off like it should. So what we're going to do is Bob Zabo told us we need to be running a 1 number colder plug in that cylinder for racing. If we're driving around doing our, drag and drive stuff, that's one thing. So what we're going to do here is we're going to put a R5671A-9 in that hole. Now, we got this little wooden holder here, and I'm fixing to make me a bunch of holders. Spark plugs have got so doggone expensive, you can't afford it. We used to just change them out pretty regularly because, hey, they was reasonable. Well, they're not reasonable no more. So we're going to start blasting them, cleaning them, and reusing them, which is okay. It really don't hurt a thing. We're going to use 3 over here. It don't really hurt a thing. So that's what we're going to start doing. And I'll show you a little blastering tool that I just bought from Summit. They're reasonable as reasonable can be. Very reasonable, like 34 bucks. Comes with the sand or glass beads or silica, as they call it. So, with today's times, buy you a little bead blaster. Blast them, clean them good with some carburetor cleaner, let them dry real good. You could just put them back in. We're going to, I'm just going to clean. I'm going to start with a new set of plugs for this season. So that's what I'm doing now, just putting new ones in to start with. And then this is going to number 7 cylinder. And then we're going to put a 9 in that 1 and number 5. So we're going to, because that one's having a little problem cooling. Now, you're probably going, well, you ain't putting anti-seize on the plugs. We do anti-seize the plugs, but the plugs have been, there's so much anti-seize goes on there, we don't anti-seize them but every now and then, being that there's already enough anti-seize in the hole. So we don't over anti-seize these things by no means, because if you get anti-seize on the electrode, it's metallic. It'll make it misfire. So you got to watch putting too much anti-seize on it. Bob Zaba used to get on me about that. Man, don't put all that anti-seize on there. You just need enough to keep it, not covered completely, just enough to keep them threads kind of lubricated. So that's what we've done. So we don't put a lot of anti-seize on them because, now the next set I may light coat them. When I mean light, I'm talking about a drop on there. We may do that, and that'll be about the extent of what we do. We're not going to do a bunch of more than that. And what happened in number 5 is we was on the dyno earlier last year, and the spark plug hole stripped out. And we never even got to really make a good pull before the hole had stripped out and had been working. It'd been stripping a little bit. It was rough. I should have done took care of it. But I didn't want to try to was that Bob, he didn't have helicoil. And I didn't want to try to put a helicoil in it with the engine put together. So what we done is we went to Advance, which we did kind of still the same thing. We just didn't have the stuff to put a helicoil in, but I wanted an insert, old steel insert. And they're good deals, but The problem with a steel insert is, I think, it slows the cooling effect of the spark plug, because aluminum is an exceptional heat sink. So, you know, that that plug touching that aluminum direct probably would cool better, do better than it touching a steel insert, and that's what we had put in it. All right, guys, I'm gonna move you around here. Hope you don't get too sick. We're gonna go about right in there now. Turn you up about like that right there. Go to this other side. You know, I've got a shop full of junk here that we've been working on. You know, I do hot rod stuff on the side, so that's kind of just where we at. Going back to new announcement, we got a podcast coming out really soon, and I'm excited about it because I just kind of like it, you know. And the good thing about the podcast is the podcast is called Hot Rods and Gassers Talk with the Boogeyman. And we're not just going to talk about gassers and racing. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. I've got people that are friends in the hot rod business. I got people that are friends in, you know, round track racing, you name it. And it ain't just friends. We're going to talk to some people that ain't friends. We're going to interview people, and basically, you know, we're going to talk about hot rods and drag racing and round track and just all kinds of things to do with that kind of lifestyle. So coming up pretty soon, hopefully here in the next week or so, our first podcast will be out. I'll let y'all guys know. Of course, go to Boogie Tech, at Boogie Tech on YouTube. That is where you'll find our podcast. And, you know, I hope you enjoy it. I like talking. I talk too much, actually. So, you know, and I like learning things. And you know how you learn? Talking to these old guys and talking to people in different deals. So we got a pretty exciting list of guests. You know, so I hope you really like it. And like I said, it's just, I mean, we're going to be talking to heads up gasser racers. We're going to be talking to some no prep guys. We're going to be talking to, you know, NHRA top fuel guys that work on the top fuel teams. And, you know, we're going to be talking to some round track guys. We're going to be talking to some parts manufacturers in the hot rod industry. We're really going to be talking to a lot of people, and it should be fun, and it should be exciting, and I hope you like it, and I hope we learn something. Man, I'm all about learning, dude. Let's learn something, because that's, you know, when I started this drag racing thing, I didn't know, when I built the Boogeyman here, I didn't know nothing about a car. You know, I mean, about a drag car. I had built hot rods. So, you know, it was fun learning and talking and doing my homework. And then, you know, we started building our engines in-house just because we wanted to try different things. And the guy that was building my engine is still my best friend. Me and him do it together. We just do it here, and we bounce things off of each other. And, you know, and I've got some good other partners in the engine deal, you know, that guide us and help us. And we throw things at them, other shops and stuff. So, you know, I just like doing things. You know, the greatest thing that ever happened to me is, I wouldn't say it's the greatest thing, but one of the most awesome experiences I've ever had. 2015, September something, I can't give you the date. It's like 9th or something, or I don't know, I'd have to look and see. We took this car to Union Drag Strip, and I just finished it. And we had did one test session at Greer Dragway the Thursday prior, not the 2 Thursdays prior, like a week and a half before the actual race. And Mitch Stott drove the car and in the test session, because I had never drag raced. And I didn't know how fast the car would go. I just knew I didn't want to tear up. You know, it's all the hard work. It ain't the money. You know, it's all the hard work. 'Cause, I mean, you know, I built this thing from scratch. You know, I built it from an actual car that I seen in the field that I was getting parts off the front of for my my orange LS Chevy 2 show car that I was building. I'll post pictures of it, and I'll show you a picture of the Boogeyman when we first started. See, now we're not going to use that 9. That kind of sucks, but we're going to put them 9s to the side because this side's going to get full 8s. And like I said, we're only going to put a 9 in that one hole. And these are pre-gap 32,000s. So, long story short, we go out. The car tests very good. We had an issue here. Nothing major. When I mean nothing major, it went out. It was a duct to water. It really was. Mitch Stott will tell you, if you asked him, it was a duct to water. We didn't even have to make no adjustments hardly on the car. I moved the pedals over for comfort for Mitch, and I think we went back and just re-squared the car, and it was done. Long story short, going out there, we qualified #1 and put like a 10th or better, 10th and a half on the field. Might have been more than that. I can't remember. I used to have the tickets. And it wasn't just that, it's because Mitch was a hell of a driver. Mitch to me, Stott's one of the best drag car drivers they are. I'm just being straight up with you. I think that he is, I've never met somebody that could get in somebody else's car and he'll make it go faster. Now that's just a fact. He can feel a car more than anybody I've ever seen. He can get in that car and he just can feel where he needs to shift it and everything, and that's just awesome. And I don't, but neither here or there. But he goes out, and not only does he, take this car to the #1 spot, first race out, he wins the race. He walks through a gas. He put this car into the 550 range. On the final round of that race, he put this car into the 550s. The first SEG Southeast Gasser car to ever go into the 550s. In history of the SEG was right here. And then the next race, he went back in the 50s again, and so did Jerry Willingham, God rest his soul. He went into the 50s final round too, they had went into the 50s. Both cars had went in the 50s. But I wasn't even driving the car. That's what my point is. My accomplishment, what made me feel good is the fact that I built the car. I had built the car. I had built it from nothing, from scratch, and built the car. And that was enough. And if you do what we do for a living, I'm not just, I just weld stuff and that's what I do for a living. I fabricate stuff because I enjoy fabrication. I do, man. Like, that's my thing. I love building stuff from cars to stuff we do for plants and industrial work to, building something for inside my house. I just love metal work. And I'll just have to mark that down as one of the most proud moments in my life. I'm 49 years old. I'll be 50 in June. I can't believe it, I made it to 50. Hopefully I'll make it to 50, still got a ways to go. And I'm just being honest with you, just one of my most proud moments just because I seen something I built do so good. So, it's not always about winning. Yeah, we won, but I didn't win. I wasn't didn't win it because I wasn't driving. So the driving part's always been fun too, but I could go build somebody a car right now, and if I could see that car do good, I get the same satisfaction out of watching somebody take something I built and do good than I do if I had did it myself. And I think that's just, I don't think we got that these days either. I think it's new youth, they just don't understand what the feeling is to create something and then do good and then watch other people even do good. You can't be selfish, man. It can't always be about you. Greg Porter gave me the best advice one time. Well, he's given me good advice a bunch of times, but this one time he's one of the pioneers of this whole thing. And he always told me, he said, man, it ain't about you, it's about the car. And I always said, what the heck is he talking about? And it finally took me, it's about this car. You don't know who's driving this car. I can put Mitch Stott back in this car and you'll pull for this car. I can be driving this car. You're still gonna pull for this car. I could put a totally different another no-name person in this car. You're gonna pull for the car. You're pulling for the Boogeyman, the car. The car has its own brand. It has its own image. What's wrong with some of these guys is they think it's about them. It ain't about you, man. It's about the car. It's about the image of the car. And he was so right about that. You know, it's about the image of the car. And don't get me wrong, I play off of that image. I'm Chris Dunn, AKA the Boogeyman. But at the end of the day, I can put somebody else in this car, and you guys out there would just love to see it go down the track, no matter if I'm driving it or anybody's driving it. So that's a good thing. That's something I feel good about, is we've accomplished something that people want to see race, no matter who's driving it. Well, guys, I'm sorry this video is so long. We're just about done. I'm gonna put the back tires on. I gotta put my sissy sticks back on. That's my wheelie bars, by the way. And no prep you ain't allowed to work. You know, you ain't allowed to run sissy sticks. But when I go test on a prep track, I like sissy sticks. So we're gonna put them back on and tires on, and then we're ready to go. Stay tuned. Upcoming podcast. Stay tuned. Next episode. I don't know what the next episode on the channel will be. Keep up with our shorts. We try to do shorts a short a day. You guys stay tuned. Appreciate all of you. We're at 2,600 subscribers. Thank you guys. We're at almost 300,000 views, and you know, we're just one person and a bunch of people, and you know, and there's a lot of people got me here. Matt the camera guy, Rob Pitts, you guys, Meadow Dean, God rest her soul. You know, without a bunch of people, they wouldn't be this channel, and without some more people, they wouldn't be a Boogeyman. Chris Dunn, AKA the Boogeyman.